Drop the kids off at...
Who told you about that truck race? We got a lot to talk about tomorrow with Jerry Bonkowski. We got truck races to talk about. But it gets more down to normal NASCAR. They go to Sonoma. I guess maybe that's not so normal on a road course. But, I mean, it's not like they never run road courses in NASCAR either. So, you know. Anyway, it's Marky Billson, your voice of choice for a new generation of Tri-Cities sports fans. The name of the program is Tri-Cities Sports Now, and we own the Tri-Cities on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio, which you can also hear at jetbroadcasting.live, as well as watching it on Facebook. We are now the most followed sports radio station in the market on Facebook. In fact, we just got over 1,500 followers on Facebook, which is not, you know, I mean, WFAN in New York has 64,000 followers. So, I mean, you want to keep it in perspective, but we are beating the competition in that area. And that shows you just a little bit about what this show does, because you can watch it on archive all the time with the best guests and the hardest hitting opinions. I may have a late guest tomorrow. I might have a late guest, or today. I might, you know, put some feelers out. I haven't heard back. You know, the emails haven't been returned. But I might have, but if not, it's you and me, and I'll, you know, be able to tell you all the wonderful things, because, I mean, we've got prizes here to tell you about, and a lot of that comes from following or liking us on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio. I'll say it right now. Hey, go to that Facebook page, like us, and you'll see where the thread is to give us your favorite sports moment. Now, we've had, you know, ball players. I mean, you know, we've had Al Oliver watches and Mark Littell has watched. Old ball players like come to watch this show. Jackie Sherrill used to watch this show. So I don't know. Jackie Sherrill, if you want to, you know, come on here and say my favorite sports moment was when Marino hit Brown to win the Sugar Bowl New Year's Day 82. Hey, you want to say it's when Texas A&M offered me $250,000? I mean, you know, whatever it is, that's fine. But we're not all that high ranking of a sports professional. The reason why you do that is you get 4 Dollywood tickets, by the way. But I'll tell you about that. Maybe you're not Jackie Sherrill or Charlie Spikes, who is watched on occasion. Maybe instead you are, you know, just like me. Average fella, you know. What's your favorite sports moment? I don't know if I can bring up one sports moment, you know. It might be when you got the winning hit in a Little League game. I don't know. You know, for me, I guess the moment is the moments of respect that I would receive. I tell you, the probably would be turning on the sports reporters on ESPN and hearing Brian Burwell talk about one of the articles I've written. That would probably be it. I really have to go down that line. You know, that would be. But so many things, you know, that I could actually put down. But anyway, all you got to do, like us on Facebook, 1420 WEMB Sports Radio, and then you'll see the thread and give us your favorite sports moment. It might be, we had this, the mother of one of Unicoi County's football players talking about watching her son play on the Unicoi. Maybe it's not Unicoi County. Maybe it's Science Hill. Maybe it's West Green. Maybe it's, you know, I don't know, Massillon High School in Canton, Ohio, and you moved down here. You know, I mean, maybe it's something like that. Could be anything. He had, I mean, one of my friends from Pittsburgh wrote in and said watching the Immaculate Reception was his favorite sports moment. Could be anything. Give it to us and you'll be eligible to win 4 Dollywood tickets. This is the main thing that we're getting to. 4 Dollywood tickets on a drawing we're going to hold on June the 9th. And you know something else? I'm looking at our competition. They're giving away Dollywood tickets. They're giving away a pair. They're not giving away 4. So think about that. You know, you got a family, there you are. We're not going to be, here's a couple of ducats for mom and dad and the kids got to pay. No, we're down with the whole family now. That sort of thing. And if you are somebody who watches on Facebook from out of town, we're inviting you. I mean, you know, we're not going to pay your travel expenses to come in from Juneau, Alaska or anything, but we kind of like the idea of you, you know, gassing up at our East Tennessee gas stations and staying at our East Tennessee hotels and drinking at our East Tennessee bars and eating at our East Tennessee restaurants. So we'd like to have you come down and go to Dollywood, that sort of thing. So this is what we do. We've got the best prizes, you know, and so we'll have a lot of stuff here. But today, I guess the dominant thing about today is it's NBA draft day. I don't think we have a real big NBA presence here. I think the storyline is basically for local fans. And yes, there's a player from Virginia Tech who may be selected too. Could be the first time in 33 years that a Virginia Tech Hokie is drafted in the first round. Get to that. You can read about it, by the way, on our Facebook page. That's something that I put up there. But draft day in the NBA. And what we're looking at is Jordan Bunn going to get drafted out of Tennessee? Where will Admiral Schofield go? Where will Grant Williams go? Will Fletcher McGee somehow... I mean, he's really, after that bad shooting performance in the NCAA tournament, that is just, you know, nobody's talking about him anymore. But along with draft day, and because the NBA is so progressive, we're hearing every year now more and more people say, why do we have a draft? The draft rewards failure, you know. I hate draft lotteries in both the NBA and the NHL. I think it's one of the reasons. The NHL is having no draft this weekend. Did you know that? I'll talk about that more tomorrow. They gave away some awards, including a Predator who won one. I'll talk about that. But here's the deal. I was just thinking about this coming in. People used to always say, oh, Marky, you're talking hockey. Nobody around here cares. I disagree. I think the transplants do. I also think that nobody cares about the NBA around here because, let's face it, this is East Tennessee. We are the most conservative place in the world, and the NBA is, as I said, just so extraordinarily progressive. But you know what? Oklahoma City is right there, you know, in a red state. So are the Utah Jazz. I mean, you know, it's not all that these guys are all playing in Greenwich Village. Let's face that fact, okay? Still, though, what's the team around here? I mean, I can say that the Predators are the hockey team around here. What's the NBA team? Hornets? I see far more people wearing Predators gear out there in the street, don't you, than Hornets gear. I don't see anybody wearing Hornets gear. Part of that is the Preds have been, even with their first round playoff defeat this year, a more successful team. They've made the playoffs. Part of it is they're in Tennessee, and while West Tennessee might be another planet, the people in East Tennessee, the Titans and the Predators. And I guess we vote on sending people to Nashville. You know, Nashville's just a little bit more okay to root for. Nobody roots for the Grizzlies. You get sports updates. I get anchors. They want to give us Grizzlies scores. I'm like, I never mention the Grizzlies. Nobody talks about the Grizzlies. But it's draft day in the NBA. And I think what we're looking at is 3 players from Tennessee. Where will they go? And then the real appeal of that is not, oh, they could star in the NBA. It's, oh, Tennessee can prove that they can get you into the NBA, and that'll help them in recruiting and land a better ball player. Whether it's Kerry Blackshear or Gene Henley, by the way, has stated could be, yes, could be, a player that could come in, and it might be between Tennessee and Kentucky, although he also reports that he's going to, where? He's going to visit Michigan this weekend and Texas A&M with his old coach, Buzz Williams. So, who knows? But whereas at one time Tennessee didn't look like Kerry Blackshear Jr. was going to come, and he is needed if Tennessee is going to win next year on a hardwood, Now they might have a fighting chance, according to Gene Henley. And that's been the recent rumors. You know, he did make a visit to Knoxville. So that's what draft day is about here. Should we have an NBA draft, though? That's the other sidelight, you know? There are a lot of cries to end the draft, saying it's unfair that a potential employee will be slotted to where he must work instead of being free to choose. And I hear that. No, don't get me wrong, I do hear that. I think that in theory these people have a point. This, of course, is Marky's monologue. But calls to do away with the draft have been around for approximately as long as there have been a draft, be it in the NBA or the NFL or what have you. I think the football equivalent of the book The Boys of Summer is Roy Blunt Jr.'s 1974 book About 3 Bricks Shy of a Load. And it talks about the Pittsburgh Steelers dynasty the year before they won their first Super Bowl. And in it, they're talking about, should the NFL have a draft? That's a brief mention. They give the most simplistic argument for a draft one can have. And it's, look, if we got rid of the draft in the NFL, who'd ever want to play at Green Bay? Think about that. Now, Reggie White certainly, once did. I mean, he signed as a free agent from the Eagles to Green Bay. We get that. But that's kind of the exception to the rule, and it comes from the benefit of hindsight, and so, and you still don't necessarily really think of Green Bay as a destination for free agents. Now, I want you to think about this. Let's just say there's no NBA draft. Okay, so the idea is, who would ever want to play in Green Bay if there's no draft? Would Peyton Manning realistically sign with the Indianapolis Colts if there was no draft? Or would he sign with his hometown Saints or something? I mean, that's a question here. If there was no NBA draft, could one see where it might be more difficult for, let's say, the Boston Celtics to get a player out of college? Yes, the Boston Celtics. Because we know Boston is racist, or that's the public perception. Could the 76ers sign a Zion Williamson if it's every team for himself? Zion, why do you want to go to Philly? The fans will boo you. First time you missed a shot, it's a very dirty city. That's not, it's angry. You don't want to go there. What about Utah and Indiana? Boring! What about Detroit? Decrepit. What about Cleveland, Denver, Milwaukee, Minnesota? Brrr. They play in the wintertime, folks. What about Oklahoma City? That's backwater. That's the middle of nowhere. My God, you seen the airport there? By the way, the airport in Oklahoma City, I will say this. Yeah, it is bigger than the Tri-Cities airport. Not by much. Honest to goodness. It is a heck of a lot more comparable. I've flown out of there. Oklahoma City's airport to the Tri-Cities than, let's say, well, Atlanta, of course, is one of Charlotte or, major airports. But your average, what you would think of state capital airport. Oh, yeah. Say Nashville's airport. Something like that. Trying to think of, I could give you Pittsburgh, but you're drawing, There's Marky talking about Pittsburgh again. I'll try to stay away from that. Look at LeBron James. He's from Akron, Ohio. And as Mike Trevisano up in WTAM in Cleveland once said, hey, Art Modell only left Cleveland twice. Art Modell only left Cleveland once. LeBron James left twice. There, malaprop right there. Art Modell only left Cleveland once. That's what Mike Trevisano has to say about LeBron James. And you got to figure this out. If native son from Akron won't stay with the Cavaliers, who will want to play for them voluntarily? Think about that. The idea of a draft is to ensure competitive balance. It's why the National Football League came up with 1 in 35 long before Pete Rozelle became the commissioner. But is it pro-player? I believe it just may be. And it's important to keep for pro sports. Tell you why after this.
Right after